Hey golf fans, and welcome back to the channel. I am honoured to be joined by Dr. Golf Design. This is the start of Meet the Designer series, where I will be chatting to talented designers like Daniel, and we will be showcasing their course. So Daniel, thank you so very much for joining us here on early 1981's World of Golf Community. How are you doing, my friend?
I am doing well, and thank you for having me. And can I
Yes,
just set one thing straight once and for all? Because
of
people
course.
have been calling me Doctor Golf Design, and it's actually DR Golf Design.
Oh, so there's no relation to the doctor.
No, there's
There we
not.
go.
No, it's
I
just for
always just thought like you were a doctor in golf or something
no,
like
no,
that,
no.
because you're an amateur golfer as well, aren't you?
I am an amateur golfer, yeah, but DR just stands for Daniel Romans, which is my name.
Ah, there we go then, guys. That's been cleared up because I always referred to you as DR as in you were some doctor of golf. But there we go then, guys. But we are going to be showcasing Daniel's latest design, and it is the Dutch Open at Cadzand. We've already covered Cadzand on the channel previously, but what's the difference between this version and the straight up Cadzand, Daniel?
It's the atmosphere. The regular version is just how you would play it as an amateur, but this course, to me, it asks for this major tournament vibe. I deliberately left some space for the stands for the stadium, so yeah. That's the biggest difference, and there's some slight changes to some of the greens. Just when you see several people playing your course, sometimes you find out only at that point that a green is not particularly working in the way that you intended it. So that's I changed two or three pins, I think, on two different holes.
Ah, excellent. Well, I'm really looking forward to playing this version. I mean, I would hold you as a very talented designer, Daniel, but can you recall your very first course design on a computer game, and how good or bad was it? Like, what game was it? Was it 2K? Was that your first dive into course designing?
It was the Golf Club 2019, and how good or bad was it? It was bad. It was really
Was it?
bad.
Yeah.
Ooh, much like
It's
your
a
tee shot.
learning curve for everyone. Do you know what that is? I've got an issue that every time my charge cable's in, I've got
Ah,
no
yeah.
vibration, so I'm just gonna have to quickly pull that out.
It was a really, really bad first design, but I think that learning curve that you mentioned, that goes for
Yeah,
any designer. And I actually modeled a lot of courses that I've seen in my real life golf, and those are usually, well, especially back then, not the best courses in the Netherlands. I've played some really good courses since then, but I used to kind of model to what I had seen up until then, which is just your local muni courses and yeah, the cheaper ones.
yeah.
So my courses were really flat in the beginning, and I still do some flat courses, but I think I've become a little more pronounced with the undulations over time.
Yeah, that certainly shows on this course that your latest design. But what is in your opinion, what is the most agonizing, taxing part of designing a golf course?
Mm. Let me just first make this putt. Turn
Look at
right,
that, fully
please.
confidence. Let me just make this putt look just burns by the left-hand side edge. Unlucky, Daniel. That was a
No,
good attempt.
I think this is probably, I mean, right here, what we're doing on the green, play testing greens. Just checking
Yeah,
whether the green contours are working. Like I said, I've changed some greens just a tiny little bit between the original version and this one, just because I saw that even though you play test them like 30, 40 times, at some point you have so much local knowledge, at least that's my experience, so much knowledge that it's really hard to not play the course well, if you get what I mean. So you don't
Yeah,
really get to those areas on greens or around the greens that are really, really bad. And then the player does it, and I see that, and then I'm like, hey, but this is like overly difficult, or this is way too easy. This runoff, it doesn't really present a true hazard or a true threat. So yeah, then I change it up, and yeah, I think most people will say planting. I will say playtesting, and then especially the green complexes.
yeah, that really is an interesting answer because, like you say, most people will say that the planting and it can be mundane and repetitive, you know. But the fact
It
that you're
is.
saying that the play testing and testing out if that green works, if it doesn't work, and I think that's a really refreshing answer. I mean, I love this hole here, Daniel. The second hole. I mean, the views you get off there on the right hand side, the beach, the ocean view, and then it's a target golf shot required into this long, elongated fairway, green. Sorry,
There used to
so
be
runoffs
the left-hand side
everywhere.
used to be peppered with pot bunkers, but I actually got rid of those just before I published the course,
Right.
because I thought it's enough. You know, there's out of bounds on the right-hand side. It's a difficult angle for that shot. It doesn't need those deep pots on the left side.
No, that's a little bit overkill, isn't it? Really.
Eh,
Oh, tell you what,
so close.
very good attempt. Almost a chip and eagle. But this particular course here, Daniel, what inspired you for this course? Is there like courses in Holland that you've tried to merge into this course? You've used it for inspiration, or
Yes, there is one course in Holland that was an inspiration for this one, or for some of the holes at least. It's the Noordwijkse, which is a very good links course, just a 30-minute drive from my home.
all right, okay,
One of the top courses in the Netherlands, actually. It's mentioned in the True Links book, like the big book that categorizes all the links courses in the world, and it's a very undulated course. It's right between a links and a really more a dunes course, because it has the sand dunes, and that's what you're seeing here on the right hand side of this hole, for instance. But I mixed it up with some other courses. There's a little bit of whistling straights in some of the holes.
definitely. I said that on my Cadzand showcase that I had hints of whistling straights on quite a few of the holes, you know.
Yeah,
So it's good to know I was correct with that.
yeah, definitely. The bunker style, for instance, is inspired by whistling straights more than your traditional pot bunkers. The the really clean ones.
Yeah,
We cannot make those in this game, so I thought, why try to emulate that? I always think that looks a little bit silly, so I just went for the more natural edges, but still I wanted them deep and pronounced. That is, hit it, Daniel. Come on.
another few knuckle rolls there, pal, and
Yeah,
that's dropping.
I'm terrible at talking and playing at the same time.
It's not easy.
No.
It's not an easy thing to do. The golf's just the side attraction here, Daniel. Everyone, we all want to pick your brains, pal. Like I say, tremendous guest to re-kick the Meet the Designer series off. It's something I think I did started on the Golf Club 2019, I believe. There's quite a few other content creators have picked up on it now and starting to do that kind of content, which is refreshing. But our discussion there takes me beautifully on to my next question, and it's how much research do you put into the landscape architectural designs of your courses?
Since I started this hobby in I think 2020, I didn't know a whole lot about course design back then, and well, since then I think there's 12, 13 books on golf course architecture in my in my on my shelf now.
Nice.
I think if I was to mention a thing that I'm good at in this game, I don't consider myself up there with the best golf course designers in terms of strategy and everything, but I think I do always succeed in creating a landscape that feels natural, and at least that's what I aim for. And for that, I always try to stick with what I've seen in real life. So this course, everything you see on this course is something that I've seen in real life at some point. Like the way the dunes roll, the way the fairways roll, the little towns in the background. I try to stay as close to what I would have seen at some point golfing or just hiking somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Because if I haven't seen it in like actual 3D, I find it very hard to emulate. So working from photos or video is yeah, it's just really difficult, I think. And I hope that translates to these immersive environments that I try to create.
Yeah, it does, because none of your courses are RCRs, are they?
No.
They're all like fictional golf courses, but
Yes.
the one thing I would say about your courses are, and it's a massive compliment, that if you said to me this was an RCR, like a real golf course in Holland or Belgium or something like that, we would believe you. So I think you totally nail that aspect
Thank you.
of your designing. Some of the courses you have designed over the past few years, Daniel, on this game, especially on 2K23, have been nothing short of majestic. You don't have a large course portfolio, do you? But
No.
the courses you do have are really up there with some of the best courses within the game, in my opinion.
Thank you. Love to hear that. No, I haven't. I don't have a lot of courses at all. I start many course projects, but
Yeah.
I finish only few.
So, like, how many courses have you got in the designer and the storage that have never been completed?
Oh, I've deleted
Or you've
a
just deleted them,
number
yeah?
of them. I think 1 out of 10 projects actually makes it to the finish line.
Wow.
I just fall out of love with projects very easily.
Yeah.
So I will design 4 or 5 holes. Sometimes I will design 13, 14 holes. And then just at some point I lose that love for what I'm creating. And then I leave them for a while, and then I come back to them later on and see if there's something that will get me going with the project again. But if that doesn't happen, then I'll just drop it and throw it away. I think there's 5 open projects at the moment, one of which I am working on to finish right now. That's 18 holes designed, and now there's just planting and grain sculpting and pin positions to do.
Right.
Just the final touches on planting. So there is one coming pretty soon. I'm going to say within 2 weeks. There'll be another course.
Nice.
But that's been waiting since, I think I hadn't touched it since June of this year. And I started it way back in January of this year.
Jeez, oh. So, see us as a designer, and I think I've asked a few people this, who are reputed designers within the game. do you know how there's a terminology writer's block? So sometimes when you're in the designer, do you ever, you get that designer's block where the creative juices aren't just flowing and you're like, nah, nothing's happening with this course.
Definitely. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the designer. I know basic how the tools work and things, but I just don't have the patience, Daniel, to be honest. That's why we rely on people like you to create these fantastic golf courses for us to go and play and enjoy, but it's just something I've never been interested in doing. One, I don't think I'd be very good at it, and two, I just find it so time consuming.
Yeah, it is time
especially
consuming.
on the console, because you design on PC, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And
So do you use the mouse and keyboard, or do you use the controller?
No, I actually use the controller. I've never gotten used to mouse and keyboard, even though some designers say that it's easier if you. But
yeah.
But at some point, I think this game actually was worse with mouse and keyboard than the last game for designers. So many designers who were mouse and keyboard, 100% mouse and keyboard designers, they actually stopped designing or continued their designing in 2K21 and then ported their courses to 2K23 to do some planting stuff. But the actual oh, that's actually not too bad.
Yeah, good shot, good recovery.
So no, I use the controller, and I've gotten really used to it. I've gotten so used to it that another game that I used to play a lot, City Skylines,
Yeah.
land sculpting in City Skylines. I was totally used to how that worked at some point, and now if I go back to that game, I will I'm completely lost because I'm so used to the mechanics in this designer that I just find
muscle memory.
Yeah, it's muscle memory, exactly. I know exactly where my buttons are. A few buttons on my controller are absolutely worn out because they're being used so often.
Fantastic. But yeah, this really is a beautiful course. I think this course is absolutely superb for match play, Daniel.
That is what it was designed for, actually.
Ah, right. Well, there you go. Just the variation in shots and the challenge it does offer, I think it makes it a really good match play environment, as you are seeing here. There's a lot of money on this skin, by the way. It's building up, isn't there?
Yeah. I should
1.2K
actually
on the line here.
pay attention here.
But no, it really is. It is hard to answer questions, read questions, and focus on the golf as well. But like I say, the golf is secondary here. I'm sure there's many designers and players out there that are really interested in what you have to say and your thoughts on designing. And that brings me to my next question. I'll let you play your shot here. It's a good one. He's all over it like a rash if it spins.
Well, it's sticking.
What is your top 3 tips for new designers, and what is your favourite theme to use, if you have one?
Those are two very different questions. I'll start with the second question.
Your favourite theme?
My favorite theme is probably countryside, because it's so versatile. You can go in oh my goodness, wow, that spun over the edge.
I think it did, yeah. It looked like it was teasing the cup there, and it just spun over the edge.
It was. That was almost your money shot.
Yeah, he's taking this one seriously, guys. See how he stopped answering the question?
There we go. Get in. Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
How did that not go in?
How is that not dropped? That has defied the laws of gravity.
I blame the designer.
My goodness. Who designed that? Who designed that green there? Another bead. It turned, and that drops.
So the first tip for new designers is put magnets in the cups.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if the designer's playing on the course. There's a
Yeah,
members bounce there as well.
yeah, that was a lucky one. So yeah, the countryside is really versatile. I think a lot of designers don't particularly like it, but I like how the heavy rough texture works with if you wanted to look little bit more barren, a little bit drier. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think countryside and then highlands. Highlands, obviously, because well, you can create stuff like this in highlands. What I don't like about highlands, though, is that if the heavy rough disappears, there's a rocky structure that appears, and like here on the left side, you can see just left of the fairway that that's a patch of rock that does not belong there, in my
yeah.
opinion. That should be like either dry grass or a bit of a sandy area. So yeah, if highlands would have the same heavy rough texture as countryside, definitely highlands would be my favorite. This is a bad shot. Well, I could get a bounce here.
No, that'll kick. You'll get a members bounce here, a designer's bounce. There we go.
That's actually in the right plateau. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
Tips for
good
new
shot. You're putting.
designers?
Yeah, your top three tips.
I would say, but this one doesn't count for those three tips. Wait until the new game comes out and see how that designer works, because I think designer-wise we'll see some changes. Because I cannot imagine that we're staying in the same Unity engine as with this game and the games before. So probably stuff will work a little bit differently. So don't get into it now and then change everything you've learned.
Yeah,
But then, other than that, I would say start simple in terms of your off course and stuff and your planting. Try to create a good golf course first, and don't get into all the visuals too soon, because you really need to nail a good par 4, a good par 3 hole, a good par 5 hole, and then the variation throughout the round, all that kind of stuff. Try to learn that first, and then think about like spicing it up in terms of how it looks. Another tip is really, really, really do a lot of play testing.
yeah,
Play test your course. Like each time you go into the designer, just play the holes that you've finished up until that point. If a hole, like if it's there don't have to be glaring issues with a hole for it to be a not great golf hole. It can also just be a little bit boring, a little bit stale. It can like strategically not make a lot of sense, and you will get to know that hole better and better and better when you play it over and over and over again. And there'll be holes on a course that I love at first, and then after playing them 50 times, they just don't don't stand out. So my least favorite hole usually just goes completely, and then another hole comes instead, and that way I think 4 or 5 holes on this course that were originally in the design did not stick until the end.
right. Okay, so why is that though? You just didn't feel that the course's theme, or
Yeah, at some point, when you start when I start a course design, I choose a specific style, and then throughout the design, it kind of evolves that style, and then at some point, I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm sticking with, and then everything I've created before, either I need to kind of change the bunkering a little bit, change the green contours a little bit, or just a general setup of the fairways. And What is this about? I'm actually losing money on this interview.
Yeah, on your home course,
On
pal. Eh?
my home course, yeah. Like I said, I'm not good at talking, and
No, honestly, people that don't do it won't realize how difficult it is, Daniel. And I'm used to it, and I'm executing a lot of poor shots, so don't worry about it, pal. So yeah, that's play testing's coming across as one of your highly recommended things to do within the game. It's quite a few things you've talked about as play testing now. So how often would you play test your course?
every time I start a session in the designer, I will first just pick a stretch of holes that I will play test, or the entire course. So yeah, I don't know exactly how many sessions this course was, but I think around 150 hours went into designing this course.
Wow.
Usually a session is, well, it can vary between 30 minutes just making some, like changing some stuff, to 4 hours, but let's say on average 2 hours per session, so that's 75 sessions, so at least 75 times.
That's incredible.
And then at the end there's this the really tedious process of double checking everything. Are all the pins okay? Are just double checking, is the intended strategy working out? Are are the tee boxes flat? Is there anything looking really stupid? Did I forget a patch of planting? So that'll take another, like, maybe 3 or 4 hours, like full hours of play testing the course and just checking every little corner.
Yeah, it just shows you that how dedicated the top designers are to making sure their final um the final bits of their course is bang on before they hit that publish button, doesn't it?
Yeah, but even then, I mean, we're playing now, and I've already come across 3 or 4 things that I'm not liking, and
See, there you go.
I would have
That's
actually changed.
incredible. Yeah, that really is remarkable.
This is one of my favorite holes in the course.
Yeah, this is an app. This is how to frame a golf hole. This one, ladies and gentlemen, it is absolutely stunning. We've touched upon it before. I think it was one of the earlier par fours, but just the look and the environment you've created on this hole, Daniel, is sublime. I mean, it's dramatic, but at the same time minimalistic, if you know what I mean. You've got the lighthouse, just it catches your eye away off there in the
Yeah.
distance. The ocean views, the sandy beach. It's just exquisite, and also the shot it offers in for a hole-in-one opportunity.
Oh, okay. You talk now. I'm gonna go for that ace.
Yeah. I'll let you play this shot.
The wind is actually helping
The wind
here.
is really helping this hole. Yeah, something I spoke about a few videos ago. The
No,
wind and how
that's
it
fast.
impacts certain courses.
That's even gonna bounce.
But with the
Stay,
news
stay,
of
stay, stay, stay. Yes.
2K25, the rumors we've heard today, what would you like to see added or improved in the course designer on PGA Tour 2K in 2K25, Daniel? I'm sure you've got quite a few things you would like to see added and improved
I
for,
do.
and I'm sure we'd all love to hear it.
I would really love to be able to create actual putt bunkers. And that's a terrible putt. So, in terms of the actual the whole designs and the sculpting and all that, I think that was always pretty much spot on in this game. Yeah, of course, the if you go too far with bunker edges, too steep, then you will see like jagged edges and stuff. But that has never been a really big issue for me in this game. I think we've been able to really make great golf courses in that perspective. The pot bunkers is really a thing that I would love to see, and even though I would recommend to newer designers not to go wild on off-course assets like buildings and all that kind of stuff, I would really, really love to be able to create modular buildings, modular clubhouses, modular houses to put alongside some of the holes. That kind of stuff, and that yeah, it's a bit of a cliche, but that for me would really open another world of creativity. Even though I've come to, hey, that's a nice putt.
Great birdie, by the way.
Thank you. Come to appreciate how we can work with the existing buildings, and like if you put something together, sink buildings like city buildings way down, and then put walls and bridges on top of them, you can create lovely clubhouses. But yeah, I would like a little bit more freedom there. What I actually would love is if they would open the game to the modding community. I mean, look at City Skylines. How much great stuff has been created for City Skylines by a tremendously large and tremendously creative community of gamers out there. I would love it if they would just open it up. I don't know how easy or difficult that is, but yeah, that would be great. I mean, the way this game has been actually floating, I would say, and thriving on the stream of courses that are being put out by creators, they could actually extend that by opening it to the modding community. Because then
that would be incredible, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, you designers, you guys prolong the lifespan of this game without a doubt. And like you say, opening it up to a whole new range of modders can only be a good thing. I think that's a really interesting answer, that, Daniel. So pot bunkers and opening up the designer side of things to a bigger audience.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you think, as a designer, that would really bring my courses to the next level?
It's not so much designer related as it is gameplay related. If you compare this game to the EA game, I think in this game we are able to stop our ball way too easy on the greens. So a 3-wood into a par 5 just stops on the green most of the time, unless it's really tricked up or if you like hit a bad shot. Same goes for drivable par 4s. Those are actually too easy in this game. I think we shouldn't be able to stop the ball as easily as we can do now. In the EA game, I think they went a little bit too far the other way. It's almost impossible to stop your ball. But somewhere in the middle of those two, that would be really, really great. And
the ball physics.
The ball physics, yeah. And I think the ball physics are okay for the irons and for the wedges for the most part, but especially for those longer clubs like long irons, hybrids, woods, driver, because if it would become a little bit more difficult to stop your ball, a links course would immediately become more interesting to design and play in this game. But also the short par 4s and the reachable par 5s.
Yeah, because it totally changes the mindset of the player as well, doesn't it? Because they're like, well,
yes,
I can't hold that green, so I'm going to have to play a different shot here.
Exactly. And that's why I said before we started this recording that I've been playing on Legend True Sim settings in this game, just to get more of a sense of course management into the gameplay, because I feel like in these settings, in the like the TGC Tours settings, sometimes it's too easy to choose just to go for it every time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
in Legend True Sim, I'll tell you, I rarely go for a par 5 in 2 shots, even well, yeah.
yeah. Just like you say, it totally changes your mindset and how you can approach certain holes and certain rounds. Yeah, I think that's an absolute fantastic answer. And like I say, your insight into the game, Daniel, is second to none.
Uh,
Is there any particular designer um, whose course designs have caught your attention within the game?
do you have a minute or two?
Yeah, I thought that would be your
There's
case. You're
there's
very humble.
there's a bunch, of course, but I think I am. I know I am a big fan of Mayday. Actually,
Yeah,
some of his
we
courses,
featured many of his courses on the channel.
most of his courses are really cool.
He's big in strategy, I would say, really,
Yeah.
isn't he? Quite a, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's the obvious answers, like B101. I usually go to his courses to check out what has he done strategy wise here. There's a bunch of other designers that I love. I have a few good friends that I will always check out their courses. So Alan Eastwood is a good friend. Rich and UFC, I should say.
Yeah, Richard Hall, yeah.
Yeah, Honey Badger Hacker. I actually did a course with him. He's a great designer as well. I'm forgetting a bunch of names here.
I'm sure no one will be offended, pal. That's all top names and really good guys you've mentioned there who have all, like Alan's a top man. I've played many around with Alan.
I actually met him in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I seen that on Twitter. Was it Dublin or something?
No, actually, he was in Amsterdam. So we went for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I hope Alan paid, did he? These Irish lads are
I'm not
tight,
sure.
Mate. You've got to watch.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's a great
I
guy,
think he did.
Alan. Good man. A lot of time for him. But let's now focus on this design here, Daniel, and feel free to talk us through your thought process at these last 3 holes. What's the best way to play it?
So we are now getting to the 16th hole. That is a short par 4. It's reachable. It's very reachable, actually. In some winds, you can reach it with 3-wood if you're a long hitter. I can see you hit 282 yards with your 3-wood, so you should... What's the wind now?
No, 248 with my 3-wood. I've got an 8-mile-per-hour wind.
Oh, okay.
Driver's going to be too long for me here, so
exactly.
I'm going to try and loft this up. I think my worst miss here, if I'm off target, I'm looking to hit the bunker.
Yeah. And if you're really unlucky, you'll plug it in the bunker.
Yeah.
Don't
Think that's going to get up. I might get a nice kick. Yeah, there we go. Favourable kick. So it really is a risk-reward hole.
It's not the hardest drivable par 4 in the world, I think.
No, and that's what you were talking about there earlier. The greens are far too hard to hold, you know, and it really is a fair point.
That's going to go way down in the valley.
Yeah, you're just showing us how not to play this hole.
Yeah. But hitting driver was with this wind was no option, because there's like very thick gorse bushes behind the green, if you're
Yeah.
stuck in there, it becomes a really, really difficult second shot.
Plus the hospitality tents there as well, off there in the distance.
Yeah, well, those might
They
actually
definitely came into play.
kind of bounce it back. But yeah, what I wanted to do, especially because I thought, so in Scotland and England, the match play, for amateurs at least, match play is much more played than stroke play in just casual rounds. And this is one of the things that I read about courses in the UK, is that course designers will actually make the 16th and the 17th like the more memorable holes, because the 18th is very I mean, they'll play it, but nothing depends on it on the 18th, you know. So yeah, the 18th can be a little more easygoing. It's not an easy 18th on this one, by the way. But I thought, okay, 16 and 17, those need to be like either you're very close to the pin or you're just way out of it. This hole is very short, but it's very easy to miss this green.
It's just a pitch in these conditions, and
yeah,
that's hopefully going to spin back.
Yeah, that's a good shot. But in playtesting, I've ended up in short, long, wherever. I just like the concept of just making a tiny green, really shallow as well.
Yeah, it is very shallow.
And you're either on or you're
here.
Off.
Now that should kick right. It has.
That's gonna get close.
That's a golf shot. That could well secure your first skin, my friend, and hopefully it does.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to take you to cleaners. I don't want to take you to cleaners here, pal. I'm feeling bad about it. But like I said, the golf secondary, and it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the channel and just getting to feel your mindset, get a little bit of information at how your brain operates as a designer, some tips for new designers and even accomplished designers. I'm sure will take on board what you're saying. But here we are on the 18th here. This really is a fantastic golf course. I must admit, I think the addition of the grandstands really make this a lot more eye-catching.
Yeah, especially here on the 18th. I actually originally designed it with grandstands, and then I took them out. But that way I knew where the space needed to be for them to come back, because I always
of course,
I always like courses without the stands as well. Because that's
more natural.
It's more natural, especially for a links course. And but I wanted to have that available space between the first tee and the 18th green to be able to put them back in for this version of the course. I keep hitting fasts.
Not the worst miss. I think it's just a light rough there.
Yeah. Anything on the right side is better than left, because that's all out of bounds.
Yeah, left is just going to... Is it out of bounds, actually, is it? Yeah, that wasteland, yeah.
Anything behind those poles is out of bounds.
Yeah, it's a really tough finishing hole, actually, this one. Pin set number 1. I couldn't have struck that much better.
That is a really good golf shot. Kick forward.
For a nice firm kick. Yeah, there we go.
That's lovely. Very good.
Yeah, I've played some really good golf here. Pleased to showcase it on your course. But Daniel, thank you very much for joining us here on the channel. It's truly appreciated. It's great to get your thoughts on the course designer and just how about you setting up a golf course and designing it, the time and effort you put into it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
No, honestly, mate, the pleasure is all mine. Like I say, You're our first guest on the new branded series, and we couldn't have asked for a better guest to kickstart this series.
Oh,
Oh no, I'll be honest, I deliberately missed. I didn't realise you won a hole. I was like, oh, you're still not going to win. How are we both walking away with bogeys here, by the way? I
yeah.
genuinely thought that you had a par putt there. There we go.
Though actually,
Oh,
my
it's a
chip went
par.
all the way
I should have
down.
finished that on a birdie. I thought we were both going to have that on pars. But Daniel, my friend, thank you so much. Really enjoyed speaking golf with you, and
It's been a
hopefully now
pleasure.
people will realise it is just DR Golf Design, not Dr. Golf Design. But there we go, guys. Daniel Romans, top designer, amateur golfer, journalist, good golfer on PGA Tour 2K23, and an all-round good guy. Thank you so much for everyone who took their time to watch this video. Please, please, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button. And until the next video, take care, peace out, and love you all.
Bye
Bye.
bye.